I'm Doug with Jerky.com, and today in our test kitchen, we're making peanut butter banana bacon jerky. On this recipe, we're gonna be using my trusty Thermomix to mix all of this stuff into a nice peanut butter banana paste. So first, peel those bananas. Just gonna chunk them up and throw them right in. We're gonna use 2 whole bananas on this one. Oh, broke that one. In addition to the bananas, we're gonna use banana powder. Now, I've been making all sorts of different recipes with real fruit versus fruit powder, and I find that they both add flavor in different ways. So a lot of times I just like to use both. So also use the peanut butter, and very similar to the banana, we're also gonna add peanut butter flour, which is dried peanuts just ground up into a fine powder. Brown sugar, soy sauce, and then half a cup of water. Now, if you guys need this full recipe, there'll be a link down in the description. That'll take you over to our blog, give you all the details. Put the lid on, we're just gonna mix this stuff up. And that looks good. Not too soupy, not too thick. So, get our bacon. We use the right brand bacon. It's thick cut. This is probably the best bacon you can get at a grocery store. This is a 2.5 pound bag. Our recipe calls for 2 pounds. So, we're gonna take about 80% of this. Now the racks on our dehydrator are about as long as these are. So if we don't cut it in half, it can be a problem. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut all this bacon right in half. It makes it easier for traying it up later. And then we're just gonna add it all to a bowl. Now all this pre-sliced meat, you really wanna make sure you take a few minutes just to separate each piece. Otherwise, if you don't pull these apart, they stay stuck together and they don't get properly covered with your marinade. Now all the bacon's peeled apart, we just take that peanut butter banana soup, just dump that all over that bacon. Now this stuff's pretty thick. You try to get a good combination. You don't want it too thick, you don't want it too thin. Then you just dive on in here. Just want to make sure, rotate all of that meat. You want to cover every square inch of that stuff. See all that whiteness? We don't want any whiteness on this by the time you're done. So it's a messy process. You got to stick at it. Just keep turning everything. I handle this stuff a lot, each piece individually, just to make sure that it gets properly covered. All right, so just keep mixing that stuff thoroughly. It looks really pretty consistent, so I'm gonna go ahead and call that mixed up. Now that this is all mixed up, all we gotta do, seal it up tight, and we're gonna throw it in the fridge for 24 to 48 hours. All right, it's been about a day and a half on the peanut butter banana bacon. I think we're ready to rack it up. Now remember, we cut all these pieces in half so it would lay nicer on the racks. Sometimes those long pieces of bacon, they get all wrapped up, tied up in knots, and it makes it really difficult to rack them. All right, turn on our dehydrator. Set your time and temperature for your desired texture. On bacon, I usually run it a little higher, so I'm gonna run it at 158 degrees, and I'm gonna start checking it about 5 hours. All right, it's been well past 5 hours. This shut off at 5, so it's been sitting for another 3 or 4 hours, to be honest with you. Everything looks good. It's not too greasy. Bacon's always greasy, keep that in mind. It's got really good pliability. I'm calling this one done. Okay, I pulled this out of the dehydrator a little over 5.5 hours. You can tell it's still pretty pliable. After I pulled it out, I let it set at room temperature for about 3 hours. That really firmed up the texture quite a bit. I think this stuff's ready to eat. This one's definitely heavy on the peanut butter. Strong, prominent peanut butter flavor on this one. The banana really comes through too. It's very subtle, but it's definitely there. This one actually turned out better than I thought it would. It's a little sweet, and you also get a lot of that salty. It's a really good mix of flavors. If you're interested in trying something other than beef, definitely give bacon a try and play around with the peanut butter. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. This is pretty out there as far as jerky flavors go, but it's pretty good. If you have a good idea for a jerky flavor, leave it down in the comments. Who knows? We may use your flavor in our next recipe here in the test kitchen. If you got any value out of this video at all, please like and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time.